She starved to buy books. The millionaire CEO's devastating choice will haunt you forever. The sun was barely peeking over the horizon, casting a haunting glow on the abandoned bookstore at the edge of town. Dust motes danced in the air like ghostly whispers of long-lost stories, waiting for someone to unlock their secrets. Inside, shelves lined with aged paperbacks twisted and turned in on themselves, seemingly alive, as if they clutched memories of the countless readers who once roamed the aisles. But today, one lone figure stood in the shadows, a woman, emaciated and trembling, her bony fingers grasping a frayed book cover like it was the last lifeline to her sanity. Oh, what a sight she was. The kind of desperate soul that could make any heart ache. Her name was Clara, a former assistant to the very CEO who reshaped the industry that she now barely survived within. You couldn't help but feel the sharpness of her pain. It cut through the room like a razor. In her determination to collect every story, Clara had made a brutal choice. She sacrificed food for books, letting hunger gnaw at her gut until it turned into a constant companion. Every day, she forewent meals just to afford one more chapter in her life. Even as her reflection grew hollower and dimmer, the air thickened with tension as Clara's eyes darted between the shelves, hunger pangs pulling at her insides like strings. She had found whispers of magic in those worn pages, a taste of adventure that her own life lacked. But today was different. The rumor of a rare first edition, hidden in the back room, beckoned to her like a siren's song. Her heart raced. The idea of it consumed her thoughts, a fire igniting that could quell her shivering soul. But what lurked behind that door? What secrets lay within those dusty, cobweb-covered walls? As she took a wobbly step toward the back, the floorboards creaked ominously beneath her. The tension was almost unbearable. Could she handle whatever lay within? She shoved the fear deep down, propelled instead by a driving need that almost drowned out her hunger. The tiny glimmer of hope made her dizzy. But then, a sudden crash echoed behind her, jolting her heart and bringing her back to reality. Before you continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Clara's chest tightened as she turned slowly, dreading what she might see. The front door swung open with a crescendo of eerie creaks, revealing a dark figure watching her. Who were they? What did they want? A chill ran down her spine, and for a moment, she could hardly breathe. The stakes had never been higher. Would she flee, or confront the danger? The fading light cast jagged shadows, and answers slipped away like the stories in her mind, leading her toward an unknown fate. Clara's instincts screamed at her to run, to escape this unwelcome presence. It felt like ice water coursing through her veins. She staggered backward, her heart thundering as she tried to make sense of the silhouette in the doorway. The figure remained still, cloaked in darkness, eyes gleaming mysteriously. "Who are you?" she croaked, surprise and terror mingling in her voice. In response, the figure stepped forward, and the glimmer of a polished suit materialized under the weak light filtering through the dusty window. It was a man tall, with a confident stride. Clara's throat tightened as the face of her former boss, Alexander Pierce, came into view. Shock rippled through her. She had worked for Alexander, the very man whose decisions left many of her colleagues scraping by. The millionaire CEO possessed an air of ruthlessness, a sharp gaze that seemed to strip away facades. Yet now, he looked pensive, shadowed by the light that dashed around him. "What are you doing here?" Clara whispered, the tremor in her voice revealing her vulnerability. "I came to find you," he said softly, an emotion surfacing that she wouldn't have expected from the man who had once wielded power like a sword. "Why?" The word fell from her lips like a stone, her mind racing full of questions. He hesitated, shifting uncomfortably. I heard what happened after I fired you. Clara's breath hitched. His dismissal had been a crushing blow, leaving her to fade into obscurity. She had fought hard to remain relevant, only to watch her life dissolve under the weight of his looming influence. I need you to understand, he continued, the warmth in his tone catching her off guard. I didn't know the outcome would be like this. I thought it would push you to better opportunities. Every word felt like a dagger plunging into her already raw wounds. His concern seemed insincere, a mere shadow of the ruthless businessman she knew. Still, there was something in his voice that hinted at regret. Why should I believe you now? Clara felt her strength wavering as emotions surged within her. Anger. Betrayal. Yet amid it all, a flicker of curiosity ignited a horrible, desperate need to know what he wanted. I need your help, he admitted, stepping closer. Help with what? This bookstore, there's something hidden here that I need. Something that could change things forever. His voice dropped to a whisper, laced with unease. Clara was torn. Part of her wanted to run, to slam the door in his face and forget this encounter ever happened. But another part, the part that craved adventure even amidst her despair, urged her to delve deeper. What is it? She prodded, breathing heavily. It's about a book, he stated, stepping ambitiously toward the back room where layers of dust thickened like memories. A first edition, one that has secrets tied to my business, secrets that can reshape everything. A mixture of fear and excitement bubbled within Clara. The thought of a book holding the power to change lives felt like a tantalizing hook. But what if it also carried danger? As if sensing her hesitation, he added, I promise, this could be your chance to come back. We could fix everything. Clara's heart raced, battling against years of hunger and hardship. 1,000 questions flooded her mind, but one stood out: was this a trap? Or a stronghold of opportunity? The room felt tighter and darker, a web woven around her decision. Clutching her frayed book cover, she stood at the precipice of her choices, the shadows whispering temptations. Just walk away, a voice inside her cautioned, but was it too late? What do you want me to do? She finally asked, drawn into the darkness. Alexander's lips curled into a knowing smile. Let us uncover the truth together. As they ventured into the back room, Clara felt the air shift, a current of suspense swirling around them, thick as the dust motes in the light. The moment hung taut with potential. What awaited them among the shadows was still unknown, but the thrill of rediscovery tugged at her, a promise of adventure reverberating in her chest. The deeper they went, the more Clara wondered, would she find salvation or ruin? Was the leap worth the risk? And then, as they stood before the door that promised answers, something within her whispered, perhaps hope still lies ahead. But hope was a fickle thing. The door creaked open, revealing darkness on the other side. What awaited her beyond? The moment Clara stepped through that doorway, her heart raced like a wild stallion. The air thickened, swirling with memories of despair and lost chances. What lay beyond? Shadows flickered in the corners, as if ghosts lingered, whispering secrets from the past. Here, Alexander said, gesturing into the room. We need to find it quickly. She followed him inside, the heaviness of his urgency making her chest tight. Dust motes danced in the thin beams of light that filtered through cracked boards above, like a prelude to a long-forgotten tale. The walls were lined with shelves, sagging under the weight of countless stories, their spines warped with age. Clara reached out, brushing her fingertips over the covers. Each book felt like a heartbeat, a pulse of life amidst the stifling air. Which book? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. The weight of his presence felt crushing, and she fought to steady herself, pushing aside the memory of her past with him. The one that holds the truth, he replied, his gaze locked onto her, piercing through the veil of uncertainty. The first edition of The Lost Revenant. It's said to contain annotations that reveal transactions from my family's history. Clara frowned. What kind of transactions? Deals made in the shadows, money laundering, backdoor agreements, things that could ruin empires. Each revelation turned the knife deeper. This man had upended her life, yet here she was, entangled in his latest scheme. "And you think I can help you find it, just like that?" "This is bigger than both of us," Alexander insisted, eyes flashing with intensity. "If we find it, we can expose the corruption, bring light to all the wrongs that have happened." The idea bubbled uncomfortably in her mind. A chance to strike back against the system that had taken so much from her? Curiosity pulled at her fiercely, combined with something darker, a craving to see him squirm, to witness the fallout of hubris. Clara moved cautiously among the stacks, scanning titles. "Do you even know where it might be?" "I believe it's here. Somewhere in this room." His voice was taut, a wire ready to snap. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed behind them, drawing their attention. Clara's heart leaped to her throat. "What was that?" "I don't know," Alexander said, tightening his grip on her elbow. "None of this feels right," she whispered, fear creeping into her mind like fog. "What if we're not alone?" "Stay close," he commanded, tension in his voice. "We can't let anyone else interfere." As they moved cautiously through the stacks, every noise turned into a sinister echo. Clara felt eyes upon them, lurking behind the shelves. A sense of dread sank into her bones. The room felt alive with whispers, each corner a potential threat. "Here!" Alexander exclaimed, yanking a book from the shelf. Dust clouded the air as he turned pale, flipping through pages feverishly. It's gone." Panic edged his voice, displacing the confidence he usually exuded. "Gone? What do you mean?" Clara could hardly breathe, fear gripping at her. Before he could respond, the door slammed shut. The sound ricocheted around the room like a gunshot, silencing everything but their stunned breaths. "What just happened?" she gasped. "I don't know," he replied, voice trembling. "But we can't panic. We need to find a way out." Just then, a whisper echoed in the thick silence, chilling them both. It sounded like a name that twisted her stomach and dated back to her past. Clara, her breath caught in her throat. "Who was that?" Alexander's brows knitted with equal terror. I don't know." Panic surged, and Clara felt the urgency creeping in. A chill swept through her, the darkness growing heavier. Time slipped away like sand through her fingers, and suspicion started to wrap around her thoughts. What secret was this bookstore really holding? And why did it still feel like something was hunting them? Suddenly, a glimmer of hope flickered in her heart. "We can't let fear win. We need to uncover the truth." But deep down, as shadows encroached, an unsettling thought nagged at her mind. What if the truth they sought was more dangerous than the secrets they already carried? Tension crackled as they prepared to confront whatever lay ahead in the encroaching darkness, but Clara was determined. And just as uncertainty threatened to swallow her whole, a final chilling declaration echoed in her mind: this is only just the beginning. What sinister discovery awaited them in the depths of that bookstore? Clara had no idea, but she could feel the darkness tightening around her. Clara's heart thudded in rhythm with the pounding silence that enveloped them. Panic painted her thoughts in dark strokes. "Alexander, we need to figure out how to get out. Now." He looked at her, a sheen of sweat glistening on his brow. "Right. Let us try the windows," he suggested, darting toward the walls that towered above them. As he reached for the nearest one, Clara felt the oppressive air thicken, like a tightening noose. "Wait!" she hissed, grabbing his arm. "What if it's locked?" Ignoring her, he twisted the latch. The window rattled, but refused to budge. "It's stuck," he muttered, frustration creeping into his voice. "We can't just sit here." Clara scanned the dimly lit shelves again, her instincts kicking in. "Look for another exit. There has to be something." Moving carefully, she maneuvered around him, thoughts racing. The whispers grew louder in her mind, shadows danced in her periphery, and she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Suddenly, the floor creaked beneath them, a low groan echoing through the dust-laden air. Clara froze, her eyes darting to the source. A row of books trembled slightly as if something unseen brushed against them. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, gripping the edge of a desk. Clara Alexander began, his face drawn tight. He leaned closer, scanning the once quiet corners. "We're not alone." Just as he spoke, the whispers returned, louder this time. They twisted through the air like a sinister melody, sending shivers racing down Clara's spine. "You must leave. Who's there?" Clara shouted into the shadows, but only silence answered her. The absence of sound felt menacing. "Enough." Alexander's anger broke through, rising like a storm. "Show yourself." In that moment, the air shifted. A figure emerged from the darkened corner, a silhouette cloaked in shadows. Clara could barely make out the features, but the presence radiated a sense of ancient power and unyielding malice. "Enough of your games," it whispered, a voice like smoke curling through her mind. Clara's instincts screamed danger. "Run!" she shouted, forcing Alexander to follow her instinct. They sprinted back toward the shelves, desperate to escape. As they rounded a corner, Clara's foot caught on an unseen object. She stumbled, reaching for a shelf to break her fall, but only managed to send a cascade of books crashing to the floor. The sound thundered through the bookstore, a cacophony that shattered the heavy silence. "Come on!" Alexander shouted, pulling her back to her feet, but Clara couldn't move, her eyes fixated on an open book peeking from beneath the pile of fallen volumes. It looked ancient, its pages yellowed and brittle. She felt drawn to it, a whisper in her heart saying it might hold the very answers they sought. "Clara!" Alexander's voice was distant, swallowing hard. She bent down, heart racing, but before she could reach it, the figure advanced, its form swirling with dark energy. "Leave this place," it commanded, resonating deep within her, as though it wanted to pierce her very soul. "No! We need the book!" Clara yelled, fear drenching her voice. The figure stopped, its features becoming clearer, a gaunt face framed by strands of darkness, eyes hollow yet burning with an age-old hunger. "I'll show you the truth," it rasped, extending a skeletal hand toward her. "But know this, some truths are better left unspoken." A chill swept through Clara, filling her with doubt. What truth could this sinister being possibly reveal? And at what cost? Ice enveloped her veins as she hesitated. "Clara, we need to go." Alexander shouted again, pulling at her arm, but in that unexpected moment, something deep inside her shifted. This was not just an opportunity to escape with a book, it was a chance to redefine everything she understood about her past, about Alexander, and about the darkness clinging to her life. Could she risk it all for the sake of uncovering something far more sinister? The figure waited, its breath cold and unyielding, as Clara faced a choice that would change everything, and as she finally reached for the book, she felt the very fabric of her life begin to unravel. What would she unearth, and could she handle the revelation that awaited her? Clara felt her fingers brush the cover of the ancient book, the texture both alien and familiar. Heart pounding, she glanced up at the figure, its empty eyes searching hers, pulling her deeper into its darkness. "What do you mean?" she breathed, her voice shaking. The silhouette leaned forward, the shadows swirling around it like tendrils of smoke. "Every choice carries a weight. What you seek can unravel not just your past, but the future as well." Desperate, Clara clutched the book tighter, as if it could protect her. "What are you?" she demanded, the courage in her voice faltering. "What do you want from us?" "Knowledge," it whispered, its voice droning like a foghorn in the nightmare of silence. "Understanding is a heavy burden, much more than a mere book can contain. Are you prepared for the truth?" For a heartbeat, Clara hesitated, weighing her fear against a deeper yearning. Knowing the truth might expose hidden fears, raw emotions, and buried secrets she wasn't sure she was ready to confront. But the looming presence invigorated something fierce within her. "I need to know," she said, her voice steadier. "Very well," the figure replied, the shadows swirling faster, twisting as if caught in an unseen wind. "You shall see what lies ahead. But remember, knowledge does not grant freedom, it binds you. Are you willing to shoulder your fate?" With her heart racing, Clara nodded, and the figure extended its skeletal fingers directly toward the book. As it made contact, the air around her became electric. Thunder rolled in the distance, reverberating through the bookstore, shaking the walls and rattling the remaining shelves. Suddenly, the pages began to flutter violently. Whispers erupted into a deafening crescendo, swirling around Clara like a tornado of voices, shards of memory and lost time slicing through her consciousness. She felt memories that weren't hers pushing to the surface, scenes of anguish, loss, betrayal. "Stop. Please." She screamed, falling to her knees as the visions inundated her. She saw flashes of her childhood, glimpses of a mother she had lost too soon, a father consumed by grief, family meetings turned cold and unwelcoming. Each flicker felt like a dagger in her heart. She wasn't just catching reflections of her past, she began to see shattered realities, alternate lives where different choices had been made. Lives where she could have known joy, laughter, love. Amidst the pain, she recognized Alexander, a version of him standing proudly, yet his eyes were glazed with sorrow. In this world, he was not just a friend but family. Clara felt the raw ache of possibilities lost. Clara Alexander's actual voice broke through the chaos, pulling her back just as the whirlwind began to fade. He was beside her, hands on her shoulders, grounding her. "You have to fight it. Whatever it is, don't let it take you." But Clara couldn't speak, still entranced by what she had seen. The book lay open between them, its dark energy still winding around them like chains. "Is this the truth I sought?" she whispered, a trembling realization dawning on her. "Each truth has a cost," the figure warned, its voice echoing with ancient memory, "and every answer reveals more questions. Are you prepared?" The weight of its inquiry hung in the air. Clara's chest tightened, panic bubbling up again. Could she accept this knowledge, no matter how burdensome? "What if I refuse?" she breathed, feeling the eyes of the figure bore deeper, probing her resolve. "Then you will remain a prisoner of your ignorance," it answered, the malice lacing its words making her gut twist. As the whispers intensified, Clara seized the moment, summoning every ounce of strength. "I choose to know," she cried, her voice rising above the noise, issuing a challenge. The figure recoiled for a fraction of a moment, surprise flickering across its gaunt features. Then, a dreadful smile spread across its face. "Very well," it rasped. "Prepare for the truth, but know this, once you know, there's no turning back." As the energy around them swirled violently, Clara felt the ground beneath her tremble. The bookstore flickered, and a dark chasm opened in the air, an abyss pulling at the edges of reality. The last remnants of silence shattered like glass, leaving her poised at the edge of all she once believed. What would emerge from the depths of that dark uncertainty? Was she truly ready for the battle that lay ahead, and could she bear the weight of the answers waiting in the shadows? The fiery gaze of the figure met hers, anticipation crackling in the air. Clara braced herself for the depths of knowledge. The moment had truly come. As the chasm widened, Clara felt its pull. It was a tangible force, cold and unyielding, like the breath of a long-forgotten ghost. Her heart raced, each beat echoing in her ears as if warning her of danger. The figure loomed closer, its presence suffocating yet oddly compelling. "Step forth," it commanded, its voice a dark melody that slithered into her mind. "Embrace the darkness, and the truth shall be revealed." Clara's breath hitched. How could she move? Fear and intrigue battled within her, and yet, deep down, she sensed a flicker of duty. Duty to understand, duty to face what had been hidden. In that moment, she recalled the lost fragments of her life, the pieces that made her who she was. She couldn't leave them buried. With shaking legs, she took a step forward. The shadows quivered, reaching out like desperate hands, drawing her into the chasm, into the unknown. The air shimmered with oppressive energy, each whisper wrapping around her like a shroud. She felt Alexander's calming grip on her, a reminder that she wasn't alone. "Clara." His voice broke through the thick fog of confusion. "Remember who you are. Don't let it consume you." His words ignited a spark within her. She remembered her mother's laughter, the warmth of her embrace, the pulse of a life not yet extinguished. Why had she let the shadows define her? Taking a deep breath, Clara shouted, "I won't be afraid." The shadows recoiled, as if hurt by her defiance. Light flared behind her eyes, a sudden clarity, as fragments of her life twisted together, forming a shield. The dark figure hesitated, a flicker of surprise crossing its face. "You think you can withstand the truth?" It hissed, anger bubbling beneath its calm tone. "Knowledge is a curse, and seekers of truth are often met with despair." "I'd rather face despair than remain in ignorance," Clara declared, summoning everything she had. "I've lived in darkness long enough." The chasm pulsed dangerously, reverberating with the figure's growing rage. "You speak of choice, yet you are nothing but a pawn. Your life is a tapestry of missteps and sorrow. Are you truly ready to see the extent of your failures?" Before she could respond, visions erupted around her. Clara gasped, overwhelmed by the surge of memories. She saw herself, her choices laid bare. Not just her own, but those of everyone she cared about. Alexander's face mirrored her pain as he witnessed the chaos unfold. Families fractured, kindness twisted to spite, and darkness coaxed more darkness. "Look!" the figure cried, triumphant now. "See how they fall because of you." "No!" Clara shouted, forcing her will against the tide of despair. "I will not be defined by my mistakes." Suddenly, the visions shifted, illuminating paths she had never considered. Moments where she chose love over fear, kindness amidst anger. With each flickering insight, her resolve strengthened. She reached for them, willing the light to envelop her. The shadows writhed, furious, trying to reclaim her. "You cannot escape." But Clara was fueled by hope. "Watch me." The light burst forth, illuminating the entire room, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. It filled every crack, swamping the echoes of her past with a symphony of possibilities. And for the first time, she felt whole and oddly powerful. A flame ignited within her, its warmth slicing through the cold despair, pushing the figure back. It roared, the sound a mix of fury and confusion, unwilling to admit defeat. "Remember," it hissed, retreating into the depths. "The truth will always follow you even when you think you've escaped." Clara stood, breathless, the shadows retreating into nothingness, but the weight of unspoken knowledge lingered. Alexander stepped beside her, eyes wide with wonder. "What just happened?" "I don't know," she gasped, "but we are not done yet. Whatever truth lies hidden still awaits us." The air around them shimmered with electricity, and just as quickly as the shadows faded, a new vision flickered to life, the cover of the book drawn back to reveal a fresh page, blank yet teeming with possibilities. What could this new chapter hold? What truths still awaited? Clara's heart raced, pulse quickening at the prospect. "Let us find out," she whispered, a determined glint sparking in her eyes. But as she leaned in to see, the shadows coalesced on the fringes, poised, readying for their return. Clara barely had a moment to breathe as the air thickened with tension. The shadows danced menacingly at the edges of her vision, and the chill of their presence crept up her spine. The room vibrated with a palpable anticipation, as if the walls themselves morphed to witness the unfolding drama. "Clara." Alexander's voice was firm yet urgent, snapping her thoughts back to him. "Don't lose focus. Remember, we have the light now. Use it." His encouraging shout grounded her, igniting the resolve that had just blossomed within. But the shadows whispered incessantly, their voices like shattering glass echoing in her mind, piercing her confidence. Every choice you made led to this. Can you bear it? Stop. Clara pressed her hands against her ears, the weight of their words almost unbearable. Every person she cared for, every mistake she made, flashed through her mind like a haunting slideshow. She thought of her friends, those she hurt, those she had loved, and those she had let slip away. The agony pooled within her, threatening to overwhelm her once more. But then, deep in her core, the light sparked anew. You won't have this power over me, she shouted, her voice breaking through the chaos. As if in response, the shimmering light surrounding her brightened, cascading like a waterfall onto her clenched fists. She pressed forward, refusing to be pulled back into despair. I'll rewrite this story. In the dimness, the figure tried to regain its footing. You think light conquers darkness? You are blind to the true horror that lies ahead. Yet Clara felt a surge of energy coursing through her. Then let me see it. The shadows shrieked, writhing in revolt, but Clara kept moving. She reached for the energy, channeling everything she had into a forceful breath. Show me the truth, she demanded. Suddenly, another wave of memories crashed over her, moments stitched together with pain and regret, but also threads of hope. Look again, Clara. See how deep the darkness goes. The images shifted, showing a sinister labyrinth filled with echoes of her failures. Clara faltered, gripping Alexander's arm. This can't be everything. No. Look closer, he insisted, grounding her. You have the light now. Focus. She took a deep breath, feeling the warmth pulsing at her fingertips. With an explosive motion, Clara thrust her hands forward, unleashing the brilliance within her. The shadows writhed as the blinding light bore down upon them, illuminating the haunted hallways of her existence. A piercing howl echoed, and in that moment, the air crackled and shimmered like a heatwave. The dark figure began to fade, its form twisting grotesquely as it struggled against the illumination. You can't. It shrieked, retreating into itself. But as it dissipated, another voice rang out from the recesses of the shadows, a voice Clara had never heard before yet felt she always knew. You've escaped this time, but destiny cannot be undone. Each path you take will entwine with those who tread your fate. The chilling statement hung heavy in the air. Clara and Alexander exchanged frantic glances, the implications settling like a weight upon their chests. What does that mean? Clara whispered, dread creeping into her heart. Alexander's brow furrowed, fear creeping into his eyes. Do we keep moving forward? Or do we retreat? Retreat? Clara almost laughed, but it was hollow. I want to let the chance to define my story slip away. There's something more out there. We need to find it. But even as she spoke, the chasm was shifting again, pulling them in different directions, reality warping around them. Clara felt herself slip. The shadows cackled, eager to claim their prize, eager to latch on to her failures, to bury her in doubt. Clara! Alexander shouted, reaching for her as the light dimmed again, shadows creeping from every corner. Clara's heart raced as she reached out, but suddenly, she was falling in the blink of an eye, she was surrounded by an eerie quiet, plummeting into the abyss. Below her, a landscape unfurled, dark and stormy, filled with endless shadows. Was it the truth she had sought, or a deeper trap waiting to ensnare her? As she fell, her heart thudded fiercely. What awaited her on the other side? Yet the voice lingered in her mind. Destiny cannot be undone. Would she have the strength to face it? Or would she lose herself in the depths of the darkness awaiting her? The uncertainty clawed at her with every passing moment. Clara gasped, the cold rush of air slamming against her body like a tidal wave. Her surroundings morphed rapidly, a stormy landscape of twisted trees, blackened skies, and swirling shadows. She landed hard on uneven ground, the impact jarring her senses. Adrenaline surged, panic clawed at her chest. "Alexander!" she shouted, her voice trembling, echoing into the abyss. The silence swallowed her words whole. As she pushed herself up, shadows screeched around her, taunting her with whispers. "You're alone now, Clara. No light to guide you here." Clara gritted her teeth, battling the fear threatening to consume her. "I'm not alone. I have the light." She scanned her surroundings, the remnants of a once familiar land now turned grotesque. Remnants of her past darted through the darkness like shards of broken glass. Faces of her friends appeared and vanished, smiles morphing into looks of hurt and betrayal. Each flicker tore at her heart, fresh waves of guilt crashing over her. "No!" she declared fiercely, steadier now. "You don't own me." But the shadows only laughed. "You think you can outrun your past? This is your prison, and you built it." Clara brushed her fingers against the ground, enchanted energy flaring to life between her palms. She needed to find Alexander. The shadows pushed in on her from all sides, shifting and swirling with menacing intent, but she had a glimmer of hope now. She felt warmth spread through her, pulsing with every heartbeat. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught a glimpse of light cutting through the darkness, a soft, beckoning glow. Clara hesitated. Could it be another trap? "Trust yourself," she whispered, undeterred. "You've come this far." With each step toward the light, the shadows writhed and moaned, their cries ringing out her name like a discordant melody. Clara plunged forward, her heart racing as the glow enveloped her. In that moment, she emerged into a bright clearing, the air fresh and electrifying. Standing in the center, Alexander was there, his eyes wide with concern. "I thought I lost you," he exclaimed, relief softening his features. "Not yet. We need to keep moving," Clara urged. "The shadows are still coming." Before they could regroup, the ground began to rumble, fissures cracking open beneath them. "The darkness is restless," Alexander warned, eyes darting around anxiously. "Then let us make it restless," Clara shouted. Forging ahead, she summoned the light again, brighter this time, a powerful beacon of hope. But the light revealed towering walls of shadow, twisted figures writhing within. "You think this will save you?" a voice slithered through, gravelly and warped. "You'll only amplify your pain." Bolstered by the energy coursing through her, Clara responded defiantly, "I want to let you win." As shadows pressed against the light, flickering out her glimmer of hope, she felt a surge of revelation. Each fear they whispered held a piece of the truth. To beat the darkness, she couldn't look away from her past. She had to face it all. With newfound determination, Clara began to weave a counter-melody, a rhythm of light that danced around the lurking shadows. "Clara, what are you doing?" Alexander yelled, hesitating as the encroaching darkness surged forward. "I'm rewriting my story," she shouted. She forced herself to confront each flickering image, reclaiming her losses, her regrets. The strength within her swelled, illuminating the clearing with a brilliant brilliance that pushed back the shadows. But as the light grew, a darkness deeper than she had ever known began to rise, more sinister than before. "You think you can erase destiny?" it bellowed, echoing through the void. The ground beneath her shook as her light began to falter. "Clara!" Alexander called out, fear etched across his face. In that moment, Clara realized all too clearly they had awakened something buried deep within the shadows. "What now?" she murmured, dread seeping back in, as looming darkness blocked their escape routes. Could they truly confront what lay ahead? Would her light be enough to guide them through the coming storm? The uncertainty built a churning knot in her stomach as the shadows gathered strength, hungry to reclaim their hold on her story. The true test was about to begin. The ground shook violently as Clara's light flickered, forcing her to her knees. She could sense the shadows tightening around her, like a noose slowly drawing ever closer. "No. This can't be happening." She gasped, panic clawing at her throat. "Stay focused, Clara," Alexander urged, his voice threading through the chaos. "You can't let them break you." But as the shadows surged, a swirling tempest of darkness, the weight of her own memories began to merge with their whispers. An avalanche of regret buried her senses. Faces of the ones she had lost, those she hoped to protect, merged in an echoing chorus, each voice more anguished than the last. "You failed us," one voice shrieked, laced with anger. "You turned your back." Clara pressed her palms to her ears, shaking her head. "Stop it. You're not real. You're lying to yourself." Another voice taunted, deeper and colder. "You can't escape who you are." Suddenly, a different thread of darkness broke through the cacophony. "Ah, Clara," it hissed, familiar yet unnerving. "The architect of your own despair." Clara froze as she recognized that voice, one she had silenced long ago. "No. You can't be here," she shouted, desperately unwilling to face that part of herself. "You're gone." "Am I?" It sneered, the shadows around Clara twisting in delight. "You still carry me everywhere. You can't let me go." With shaky breaths, Clara forced herself to stand. "I want to let you take me down." This time, she summoned the brightness from her core, wrapping it around her like armor. It surged into the darkness, illuminating grotesque faces, each shadow recoiling from the strength of her light. But the retreat didn't last long. They regrouped. Thick tendrils of darkness lashed out at her, seeking to snare her and drag her back into despair. One shot toward her, coiling around her ankle. Clara stumbled, her focus wavering. "Alexander!" she shrieked. "Fight it, Clara!" he yelled, wrestling against the consuming shadows around him as well. The glow from his own spirit flickered beside hers, brighter than before. "We can do this together." "Together," she echoed, finding solace in the trust in his voice. Clara reached deep within, crafting their shared light into a weapon. "Let us lure them out," she said, determination swirling in her gut. "If they're hungry for our pain, then let us give them something they don't expect." "Right." Alexander agreed, the energy between them crackling with renewed force. They both shouted their past fears, allowing their voices to resonate in the night. "I longed for approval," Clara bellowed. "I held on to guilt like it was a lifeline. I buried my dreams to protect others." Alexander added, his voice breaking through the veil of darkness. Darkness shrieked as their words pierced through, each confession unraveling the coils holding them prisoner. The shadows shrank back, writhing in pain, unable to contain the power of their vulnerability. But just as relief washed over them, another wave of darkness surged, this one larger, more terrifying, rippling with malicious intent. "You think you can defeat me with confessions?" it roared, fierce and mocking. "I am the embodiment of your fears." Clara felt the wave crashing against them, stronger than before, wrapping around her heart like frost. "It's not just fear. We have hope, too." She screamed defiantly, and with a fierce determination, she poured every ounce of hope into their light. Their light flared brilliantly, pushing against the encroaching shadows, yet still, the darkness pressed closer. The ground trembled ominously, as if the world itself threatened to give way beneath them. "What if this isn't enough?" Clara's voice quivered, a stark reminder of the uncertainty that loomed. As the shadows opened their mouths wide, ready to swallow them whole, she held tight to Alexander. "Then we fight until the end," he urged, igniting the spark of her courage. "Together." But as the shadows swallowed their light, a sudden blinding flash erupted from the ground beneath them, a portal swirling with an otherworldly glow. "What is happening?" Clara gasped, staring at the vortex. With wide eyes, would they dive into the unknown, or give in to despair? The choice weighed heavily as the shadows coiled tighter around them, threatening to crush the last remnants of their hope. The next moment could shatter everything, or save them both. What lay on the other side? Clara breathed hard, the air thick with despair as the shadows began to close in. She felt the darkness constricting like a serpent around her ribs, and for a brief moment, doubt wormed its way into her heart. "Maybe we can't win," she whispered, fear gnawing at her insides like a rabid beast. "Don't say that." Alexander's voice cut through the thick veil of looming uncertainty. "Look at what we've done already. We've faced our past. We've shown the truth." His eyes glinted, a spark of defiance standing against the encroaching shadows. "But what if it's not enough?" she challenged, her voice barely holding steady. "Together, we have light," he insisted, reaching for her hand. She could feel the warmth radiating from his grasp, a lifeline tethering her to hope. The shadows writhed, desperately trying to pull the light away. "You cannot escape," they hissed, their tone dripping with disdain. But Clara could feel the awakening inside her, a surge of power fueled by her choice. With every beat of her heart, she summoned the strength within. "Then let us go." She squeezed Alexander's hand tighter, determination coursing through her. "Let us embrace the unknown." They lunged toward the swirling portal, fear and resolve blending into a heady cocoon of adrenaline. Time felt slow, each breath resounding in sync with the frantic pulse of their hearts. Together, they leaped into the blinding embrace of light. The moment they crossed through, an explosion of colors engulfed them, like being birthed into a new realm. Clara gasped, the brilliance dazzling her eyes as she landed on solid ground. Gone were the shadows, replaced by a serene landscape, rolling hills bathed in sunlight and a fading horizon painted with hues of orange and pink. They stood together amid an enchanted meadow, wildflowers swaying gently in the warm breeze. "What is this place?" Clara turned slowly, taking in the infinite beauty surrounding her. It felt like a world crafted from dreams, the stark contrast of the darkness still clawing at the corners of her mind. She looked at Alexander, incredulous. "Did we win?" "We did something, that's for sure," he breathed, awe filling his eyes. "We faced our fears, and now we've found something." "But what did we find?" Clara felt an electrifying surge of hope intertwined with confusion. Just then, a figure appeared on a distant hill, a tall woman wearing a flowing dress, radiating light. Clara's heart raced, a mix of fear and curiosity compelling her forward. "Who is that?" "Someone important, I think," Alexander replied, his voice laced with anticipation. They approached cautiously, each step filled with trepidation. As they drew closer, the woman smiled, her kindness illuminating the air. "Welcome, Clara and Alexander. You've faced the shadows, the truths of your past, and now, you stand on the threshold of your future. Is this freedom?" Clara dared to ask, her voice trembling. "Perhaps," the woman replied, her expression gentle. "But know this, the past is never fully gone. It shapes you, guides you. How you choose to carry it forward lies in your hands." Tears pooled in Clara's eyes, visions of pain flashed through her memories, but alongside them, glimmers of love and perseverance. "I don't want to live in fear anymore," she whispered. "I want to rewrite my story." "That is the first step," the woman encouraged. "Balance the light and shadows. Use what you've learned, strengthen the connections that matter. Your journey doesn't end here, it transforms. Together." Clara echoed, feeling power ripple through her once more. She looked at Alexander, a fierce determination ignited in her spirit. "Together, we'll face whatever comes. We'll build our own reality." The woman's smile widened, bathed in warm light. "Then go. Chase your truth, live your story, and remember." A burst of warmth enveloped them, a sense of clarity washing over as the laughter of friends and family echoed around them, a reminder that they were never truly alone. The vibrant world shimmered, reality bending again as Clara took a deep, cleansing breath. This was her chance. No more running. No more hiding. They would forge their path, side by side, facing whatever came next with courage born from battles fought. With Alexander at her side, hands intertwined, they stepped forward. Together they embraced uncertainty, ready to seize their destiny. Clara felt the shadows settle in the background like forgotten whispers. They were lessons now, not shackles. The sun above shone brighter than she'd ever known, and hope raced through her veins like fire. As they ventured forward, a thrilling new chapter unfolded before them, one shaped by resilience, hope, and the promise of 1,000 untold stories. Subscribers, you need to subscribe now for more stories that will tug at your heart and leave you breathless. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and share the love. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your voice in the comments section makes a difference. Flood it with your reactions and theories because only true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.